Hi, this is A New Nigeria with Wale Oluwade. This is your current affairs program where we critically examine the strategic issues bedeviling Nigeria's developmental aspirations and boldly offer practical suggestions on building the Nigeria of our collective desires. Today's episode promises to be engaging and exciting. My guest is already here to assist me in doing justice and also give depth and clarity to the topic of our discourse. As always, it's going to be evidence-driven, honest, bold, and a no-holds-barred conversation. So get ready as we begin in earnest. And now, let's get on with it. Today we're looking at 2023 elections, a strategic economic agenda. Successive federal and state governments over the decades have misplaced their governance priorities and thereby squandered and mismanaged the nation's resources on bogus projects and monumental corruption. Nigeria is thus a graveyard of abandoned projects with well over 10,000 of such littering the nation's landscape. Meanwhile, the urgent priorities of every responsible government is the security and welfare of the citizens, and this is by the provision of certain essential services which impact directly on improving the living conditions of majority of their people: education, healthcare, housing, and the creation of decent jobs. Consequently, as we approach the coming 2023 general elections, there are many manifestos of candidates being bandied about. It is therefore imperative to ask, what strategic issues are fundamental to the turnaround of Nigeria's current economic failures? Specifically, with about 100 million Nigerians living in extreme poverty, how critical is poverty eradication to the attainment of any economic plans for Nigeria's turnaround? What urgent action steps must be taken in confronting this evil monster decisively? These are some of the issues we're examining today. We'll take this short break, and when we return, we'll dive right into the conversation. Please stay with us. So Oyinola Olaniyi is a professor of public sector and development economics. He has been a professor of economics at the Catholic University Milan in Italy, Veritas University in Abuja, Nile University Abuja, Nasarawa University in Abuja, and the University of Abuja, also in Abuja. He has over 30 years teaching experience as head departments of economics and management sciences, dean of faculty of social sciences, director of academic planning, and director of consultancy services at the University of Abuja. His research interest includes macroeconomics, public sector management, defense economics, health economics, development economics. He has been and is still a consultant to several domestic and international organizations. Prof, that's some intimidating CV, and I guess that's the reason why you are here. So let's get right into the conversation. The topical economic issue in Nigeria currently is the policy of the Federal Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign the Naira. And expectedly, it has elicited a cacophony of different or divergent opinions. So, as an expert on macroeconomics, what's your opinion, Prof? What's your take on the new CBN policy? That's not why we're here, but we need to touch on it briefly.
Well, redesigning the Naira, this is one of the normal functions of the central bank. The central bank is an issuing authority.
Yeah.
So it's the authority that issues currency in the economy.
Okay.
So it's one of their functions to periodically, depending on the economy, the situation in the economy, periodically, or what they have observed, periodically change the face of the Naira, add bigger denominations or higher denominations when the value of the currency has become very low, and so on. I think so. It's it's one of the normal functions that the central bank should perform in an economy.
But what are the benefits? What exactly is this policy of the central bank? What is it intended to achieve? I know one of it is curbing inflation, because, I mean, if you have too much money chasing fewer goods and services, elementary economics, then of course you're going to have inflation.
Clearly.
Can you hear me now, Prof?
Clearly.
Can you hear me now? I can hear you very well.
Again, you may repeat yourself.
Okay, I said, what exactly is this policy intended to achieve? I know one of it is to curb runaway inflation as such as we're experiencing currently. What other benefits? What other benefits is this policy intended to achieve?
Well, we can only rely. Part of the things that the central bank has said, for example, is there are a lot of money outside the banking system, and they want to bring it in. They want to bring more into the part of trying to maybe mop up liquidity in the economy. Now, but whether that is a major issue now, or what people are talking about is the timing of the action and what is intended to be, particularly the fact that the value of soon, immediately after that announcement, the value of the naira continued to drop. That is usually when there is a policy, whether it's monetary policy or any other policy, you expect there to be intended and unintended effects. And the success of the policy will depend on whether the planners have already thought through the unintended effects and taken remedial actions that will curb those negative effects. So we are, the immediate effect that we have seen now is that the dollar, probably because a lot of people who cannot return their money into the bank are trying to change the money into dollar. The value of the dollar has dropped further than what it was. So this is supposed to have been anticipated, and there's supposed to have been some remedial action. Whether that is there and it is not working yet, we are yet to see.
Good point, Prof. Now let's talk about the fundamental economic issues, in your own opinion, 2 or 3 of them that presidents or governors next year need to focus on. What, in your own opinion, constitutes the major economic issues? 2 or 3 of them.
Well, considering the fact that the economy now is in very dire state, and that is so even all over the world because of the Russia-Ukraine war. Now our inflation rate has gone very high. It's around 20% now, and it is said to be driven by food inflation. And food inflation, two reasons maybe. One, the fact that the value of the dollar is so high, and we are an import-dependent economy. Even farmers use the dollar to buy fertilizer, and even the farmer also buys so many other things, which is money. So it needs to increase. The price has to go up in order to meet up with its own expenses. So the inflation rate is something that we have to look at very seriously and see what we can do to bring it down. In the net, where again, in an election year, you expect a lot of liquidity in the system, because most of people who have stacked up money, or those politicians who have also stacked up money in dollars or abroad, will bring it out and spend for election. Election is expensive anywhere in the world. So there is expected to be a lot of liquidity in the system. And if I think policymakers should be concerned about is the level of inflation and the value of the naira. Those are very key. As to what the new government should focus on in the long term, this economy is not competitive, and that's why we don't have a strong industrial base. And one reason why it is not competitive is that we have very weak infrastructural base and inadequate. Most of the infrastructures are either inadequate or not properly maintained. So they are the roads, the rails are new; they are just coming back, and insecurity is also a very important factor, which is hindering the efficiency of the system. Farmers are one of the major reasons for food insecurity. I mean, for food shortage in the system, for example, is that farmers are not able to farm in a large part of the country because of insecurity.
Exactly.
All over the country, really, farmers are afraid to go to farm because of insecurity. Their lives are not safe on the farms. So that is a very key thing that we have to work out. And importantly, the major or the critical infrastructure that the next government must continue to look at is electricity. That is a major reason why our factories, our economy is not competitive. Producers have to fuel their own generators and so on, and that increases the cost of production. That's why it's more expensive to produce in Nigeria than even to produce in Ghana or any other part of the country. So what will make our economy competitive going forward in the long run is to continue to build our infrastructure. And if we start infrastructure projects, we should finish them. Abandoned projects is one very, very serious problem in Nigeria, and there are two reasons why, or there are two ways through which infrastructure contribute to development. One, when the infrastructure is being done, is being carried out, or is being constructed, people are engaged, resources are used, and those resources, and that reflects the economy. In a situation where most of the resources that are being used are imported, it's a major problem, because a lot of the money you are spending on infrastructure leak out of the system, leak out of the economy. That is one problem. The second problem is that when you abandon the project midway, it cannot contribute to the economy. Yet you have invested money on it that should have been used to do something else. So if we can going forward stop the issue of abandoned projects, then there will be value for the money that government has spent on infrastructure.
Okay, I hear you. Fundamental problem. Any of the government should look at. What do you think, Prof?
About
mass poverty. Mass poverty.
Yes, mass poverty is actually as a result of the issues that I've mentioned. Without having a very strong industrial base, because it is industries Now, we talk about agriculture. Agriculture employs about, 65, 70% of the agriculture is seasonal. Agriculture generates low income.
But it creates massive employment opportunities.
And so it does not create a continuous flow of employment that also generates income, middle class income. And unless we are able to develop our economy to be able to create industries and sustain those industries through by having very strong by having adequate infrastructure that can bring down the cost of production, we will continue to have a situation where but even when you talk about it's retained in that economy. So that money that is spent that is retained generates income, generates employment along the line. You will even buy their wood. They will carve their wood into a cross for you to buy, and you will buy it. But if you come to Nigeria, everything even things you buy, a lot of them are imported. When we did this youth games the other time, most of the things that were sold in the
games village
were imported items, and they import and they resell. So we need.
What is the role of MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises, in creating jobs, which you alluded to, both blue collar, white collar, and any other kind of jobs. And the people, when they have jobs, they can pay taxes, and then of course the economy is reflected. What's the best model, in growing MSMEs?
In most economies, developed economies, even the developed economies, micro, small, and medium scale enterprises are the engine. Between 70 and 90% of the
GDP growth
companies. The GDP they produce between 70 to 80% of gross domestic product of the economy. They are usually the ones that bring about new products, and they are usually the ones that bring about new technologies. They are usually the ones that employ. They employ a lot of people. In those economies. So the role of small and medium enterprises cannot be overemphasized.
Okay, Prof. As we wrap up, let me ask also. Now, can you speak to us about its effectiveness or otherwise, and how, in your opinion, do you think we should go about it?
Well, two major things are the problems of finance and expertise.
Okay.
And policies that policy somersaults.
Okay.
A lot of the MSMEs need finance.
Okay.
And they need long-term financing.
Okay.
Not short-term financing. To be able to weather the storm of growing an industry and then stabilize. They need long-term finances. They need a lot of mentoring by because part of the problem, one of the role of the monetary system is to mentor small scale industries. The mentor supervise them, advise them. They should have units that are doing this, providing some kind of training and supervision. Actually, generally, because if you borrow money to somebody, if you lend money to somebody and you are interested in the success of that enterprise, so that the person will be able to pay you your money. There is need for occasional visit and advice here and there. That is really not very much there in our client. There are agencies of government that have been set up to do that, like SMIDAN and so on. They are probably doing their best, but there's a lot that is still yet to be done.
I agree with you.
They need financing, they need mentoring, and they need conducive environment, particularly infrastructure.
I agree with you.
I mean, what do you call it?
Electricity.
It's key to economic development.
I agree with you.
Very, very key.
I think, Prof, we have to leave it here. We've had technical issues, so we have to leave it here for now. We will definitely have you on subsequent editions of the program. I must thank you very much for coming this afternoon. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure participating.
Same here. Thank you very much. Welcome back. And here are my closing statements. As we approach next year's election, who among the presidential and governorship candidates has the best economic plan, possesses the character and proven capacity to deliver on this? Who is able to assemble an A team of patriotic and talented Nigerians to take decisive positive decisions while not themselves becoming a major threat due to corruption, sabotage, and ineptitude? Please note, an economic plan doesn't have to be bulky. When it is, it's usually an excuse to get nothing done. An economic plan can be efficiently simple, containing visions and strategic objectives, policies to achieving this, expected measurable outcomes with reasonable time frames. Also, an economic plan isn't cast in stone, but should be subject to tweaks as events unfold and situations, demands. While the vision / strategic objectives remain constant, the policies and methodologies to achieving same must be dynamic. Importantly for me, any of the candidates for president or governorship whose economic plan doesn't address the following strategic issues practically will not get my vote, and I hope such shouldn't get yours as well. Number one, resolving the oil and gas debacle decisively through the adoption of the NLNG business model. Watch the video on this on my YouTube channel. I offered my recommendations therein. Secondly, a detailed plan on eradicating poverty from Nigeria. Without a simple, practical, integrated, and effective plan to eradicating poverty from our shores, everything else that is done will fail eventually. Government is about people's welfare. People must eat, they must be educated, they must be healthy, and live in decent accommodations before anything else. Number three, a clear commitment to patronize first made in Nigeria goods and services in healthcare, in education, in automobiles, ICT, food, raw materials, etc. Number four, a detailed master plan for MSMEs development that consists of establishing industrial clusters or economic zones for key economic sectors, ICT hubs, etc., with provisions of infrastructure, that is roads, power, finance, security, market, etc. Also, number five, drastic reduction in the cost of governance, beginning with the president and governors as examples. The disbandment, for instance, of the obscene presidential air fleets and the cessation of governors chartering private jets and their very long motorcades, the disgusting allowances and benefits of revenue generating agencies personnel, the immediate cessation of foreign trainings and unnecessary travels. These are some of the ways we can curb wastage in federal government revenue. Number six, a decisive, systemic, impartial, and brutal war against corruption and unethical practices in all its ramifications in our public offices. Number seven, how many jobs will these plans, create monthly and annually, and in what sectors of the economy? Number eight, what is their specific solution to solving our electricity challenges in the short term, medium term, and long term? Number nine, how do we transit our agriculture from subsistence to mechanized and producing on an industrial scale in the shortest possible time frame? Now, I will speak more on the above economic agenda in the coming days and weeks before the general elections. On this program, we owe it a sacred duty to inform and enlighten you, the public, on why it is a strategic imperative to get our leadership selection process right next year. Remember, change requires action, and positive change requires positive action. I believe in a new Nigeria, and it is possible. And those are my closing thoughts. Now, that's the program today. Remember to follow me on my different social media handles. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can watch this particular video and others there at your convenience. Now, drop your comments also. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.